Welcome to the Snohomish Storytellers. Here, in our little corner of the universe in Snohomish, we have a strong sense of community and heritage founded in the whispers of yesterday's stories and the narrative of what is being written today. Snohomish Storytellers captures this through organic conversation between Snohomies, former, present, and future.
This podcast is brought to you by the historic Downtown Snohomish Association. Our mission is to promote, preserve, and improve the Downtown Historic District as the heart and soul of the city of Snohomish. My name is Megan Hetherington, Executive Director of HDSA, and my lovely co-host is
Sheila DeVerder, Board Member of HDSA. With us today is also our podcast producer and Vice President of HDSA, Trent DeVerder.
And welcome to our podcast. Sheila.
Megan.
Trent just told us something interesting.
Yes.
It's international or just national? International Podcast Day.
How appropriate.
Yay. I totally planned that.
Totally.
When I scheduled this
around
Rachel's availability, I knew that it was going to be an International Podcast Day.
And you scheduled this like 2 months ago.
Well, did I? I mean, I was trying to with Rachel because she is an in-demand lady.
Yeah.
And we will hear all about why that is.
Yeah. So without further ado, welcome Rachel Morgan from Rachel Morgan Coaching.
Welcome.
Thank you. I am thrilled to be here.
Thank you for taking some of your busy schedule to be with us today. And we want to learn a little bit about you. First of all, there are lots of different kinds of coaches. You are a luxury retail sales coach. Is that correct? Did I get it right?
It is, yeah.
Tell us what
absolutely.
that is.
Well, so first of all, I know the word luxury can be very off-putting, but there's absolutely a difference between high-end luxury and luxury, in my opinion. So luxury meaning like coffee shops and wineries and clothing boutiques and jewelry, and not necessarily like Chanel and Gucci, that sort of thing. Though
Gotcha.
That would be, absolutely fun to work with as well. But so my focus is retail. That's my background. And so I focus specifically just on the sales aspect. So I know when we think of coach, we think of a business coach or like a life coach or an executive coach, but my focus is just sales. So teaching people how to interact, how to convert, how to engage, how to add on, upsell, but most importantly, build relationships with their customers for retention.
Excellent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Retention is important. And I was kind of looking at your website. I'm totally going to butcher this, so I apologize. But
That's okay.
You basically have like 3 steps that are kind of like, this is the way that you can, take the first 3 steps, I would guess, into improving your sales. Can you tell us what those are?
Are you giving her a pop quiz, Megan?
Well, so, I think it's really important to know how to talk to people, engage, and recognize that it's not just about the transaction. There's so much that goes into engagement, your body language, the sales psychology behind it, how you greet people. Are you building connection? Are you just there for the sale? Are you actually interested who's in front of you? So really taking a moment to look at that. And then like through the sales process, how you're making people feel, and then what you're doing after. So we like to think that the sales starts the second you start interacting, but in my opinion, it actually really starts once you close it. Because what happens afterwards determines if someone comes back, if they return, if they have buyer's remorse, word of mouth, reviews, right? How they feel about you, your reputation. So how you treat people post sales also really important.
That's such a good point. Have you ever, Sheila, made a purchase where you're kind of excited about it, and then almost as soon as you leave the store, you're like,
I am the queen of, there's a term for it, and I'm
buyer's remorse?
Buyer's remorse. I am the queen of buyer's remorse. I am one of those people. I will buy something. I will not take it out of the packaging for a really, really long time because I'm like, do I really want it? Do I really deserve it? Do I really, do I want to commit to this? And then if I open it and then I'll try it on and then I'll put it back in the container. And then 2 days later, I'm like, okay, I feel good about this purchase now. I can commit to this and I will put it in the wash or put it away somewhere. It is a whole process. And I'm sure Trent just loves me having packages that are half open all over the house.
All of your mid-thought purchases.
Yes. But there are definitely certain times when I don't have it. And that's probably one of those key relationships that Rachel, you're talking about, is when you can have that feeling, that relationship with someone so that they don't have it. And they go home and they're super satisfied and they're ripping tags off. And I'm like, I'm putting this right on.
Yeah.
Well, I think we go home sometimes and we're like, what did I just do? Like, I feel tricked, right? And so then you end up returning it. And so there's a difference of when you're helping someone, are you actually meeting their need and making it make sense for them? And then I think you also feel better as a consumer as well. So I think of this because then I used to work in fine jewelry and, you could deliver an amazing experience and then the perfect piece. But what happens to fine jewelry is it tarnishes. So if you don't know what that means, it's a chemical reaction. So you have to polish your jewelry often. So like a lot of people associate that with silverware, right? And so if you don't explain to a customer that your jewelry will tarnish and here's a way to maintain it, they could go home and their jewelry is now black. And they're like, what happened? They just sold me something that wasn't good quality. And then they're upset. And then that completely changes their whole perception of you, right? So it's the little things like that, keeping in contact and
educating about what it is that you're purchasing.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you work with businesses that sell experiences?
Like services?
Services? Yeah.
Well, I would say everything you sell is an experience.
Oh, that's a good answer.
In one way or another. But yes, I have absolutely worked with service-based. I mean, to me, even though you're selling a service, you're still selling a product. You're selling something, right? And there's always ways to add on to it. Even if you're doing like business coaching, right? You're still selling this product of like your program or your workshop, right? And there's add-ons to be had there.
Yeah. So this might be a difficult question because it's like every business is going to be different. But like if you were to walk into a Main Street business, like what we have down here, most of our shops are small. They're small business owners. And they say to you, Rachel, I don't know what's going on. I just can't seem to get above a certain percentage of sales. I'm hitting a slow time. I'm doing everything I've always done. What's going on? Are there specific questions that you would ask them, or where would you, without giving away all of your services here on our podcast for free, like what's your method that you go about to help somebody figure out their mystery?
So one thing that I would do if I were working with this business is I would want to observe and see what's happening. So where are they greeting people when they walk through the door, right? We often think of greeting as pitching, right? We've all walked into a store and we hear, hey, everything's 40% off today. Let me know if you need any help, right? But greeting is just saying hello. So how are we acknowledging people when they come through the door? Where are we standing in our store? Because subconsciously through our body language, we can communicate a lot of things that can be off-putting.
Interesting.
So I would start there. And then I like to look at how they're engaging people. So what's the first, I say engaging a lot, but it really is key. And so what's the first thing out of their mouth also when they're talking like and asking? So a common question that we might hear in retail is there anything I can help you with? And what do most people say?
No, I'm just
good.
Looking. Thanks. Comes out so
Don't
naturally.
talk to me.
Exactly. So then what does the sales associate say back to you?
Okay.
Let me know if you need anything.
So then what happens?
You just disengage, like you walk away from each other.
Right.
Yeah. You just kind of look around and
then what
see
happens?
what you can find. Well, in my case, I'm not a huge shopper, so I probably don't pick up anything or buy anything. I just go.
Right. So then I love that you guys just both said this because we know exactly what's happening here. And all I asked was one question, right? And we already know what's going to happen here.
Right.
And so it's way more common than we realize. I promise you're going to notice it now. Everywhere you go, you're going to hear that question. I'm like, oh, Rachel's in my head. And so, but now you've just gotten this gift of traffic, which so many retailers are like, my numbers are down. How do I get my numbers up? How do I get traffic? But now you just not converted to people that came in your store. And so there's a disconnect on why that happened. And so when we ask a question like that, you're not as helpful as you actually think you are. So there's a difference of how you approach, like what type of question you ask. That is an example of what's called a close-ended question. So, and the reverse of that or the opposite side would be an open-ended question. So close-ended questions typically get us a yes or no response. So when you ask, is there something I can help you with? You hear no. And so you think as a salesperson, you're coming from this really helpful place. Like they're going to tell me, but oftentimes that's
Maybe
not actually the case.
Yeah.
And you're not communicating what you actually think. So there are better ways to approach that and engage people and have a more meaningful interaction. So those are kind of the things I look for first of all, is like, how are you even talking to the people in front of you? What I do hear is that when my numbers are down, typically it's a traffic issue. But like I just said, it's not always a traffic issue. Sometimes it's conversion. Then again, I always look at like, okay, well, what can we actually control? So those are some controllable things. But maybe it's picking up the phone. When's the last time you've talked to an existing customer of yours and just checked in and seen how they're doing? Or maybe wishing someone a happy birthday or Have you replied to DMs or started conversations on social media with people to encourage them to come in?
Yeah.
Right. So really stepping back and thinking about what can you control?
For sure.
And outside of just the store setting, right? I think all of those things that you're mentioning are things that you don't need the person to be in your store to engage with them in that way. Like if you're DMing them, and you can do it when your store's not even open. But you said two, I think, really good buzzwords that I want to kind of take a moment to highlight is traffic and conversion.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think in recent years, especially in downtown Snohomish, we've had a lot of traffic, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
It's been hard to get parking downtown. I think everyone acknowledges that, right? So I think we've had really great traffic in our town. So maybe it is the conversion aspect that, we can focus a little bit more of, seeing tips and tricks of, how to really get the people that are already walking around our beautiful town, but like, hey, get them in the door and get them to buy something.
I think what you said is really key. And sales and marketing so this is going a little bit of a 180, but obviously relates. Sales and marketing are seen as the same thing. But in my opinion, marketing is what attracts people in. Sales is what converts. And so it's a very different skill set. So we often think if our sales are down, how can we get more people in? So we go to marketing, right? Like social media and email and our displays and whatnot. But sometimes it could just be how you're interacting and talking to people or what you're doing to build relationships and get people back in. Because I know it sounds harsh, but in my opinion, it doesn't matter how good your marketing is. Like you could have the best marketing, but if you can't close people,
right,
then your marketing,
they're just walking around.
Exactly. So your marketing didn't actually necessarily convert people. You still have to do that yourself.
That's really interesting. Now I'm really curious to see like our conversion rates versus what are traffic rates. I think that would be really cool data to see.
We're working on some of that data. I mean, traffic data will be coming soon. Thanks to a partnership we have at the city of Snohomish, we have a tool now where we'll be able to look at some of those things. But we're also starting to expand the data sets that we're getting from our downtown business owners to just kind of get a better idea of like the economic health of the district overall. But there's going to be trends in there.
Yeah.
And also one thing we've been discussing is people will sometimes generalize the health of their business based on feelings and not so much of data. And so you feel like things are good or you feel like things are not so good, but the numbers will actually show what's good or bad if you're going to put it, in those two terms. But I'm excited to learn a little bit more and partner more with people like you, Rachel, and also to kind of just identify how you can make individual businesses healthy is how you create a healthy district, right?
Yeah.
And so many of these things, I think, are tools that some people do really well. And some people, like you're saying, it's two different skill sets. And a lot of our businesses are small businesses and not everybody has these comprehensive skill sets, right? So how can we build or help assist in the ones that maybe some people have more opportunities in, right?
I love data too. I love KPIs. So KPI is the key performance indicator and really looking at your foot traffic and your conversion and your add-ons, right? I managed a store for many years, a couple multi-million-dollar stores. And whenever my foot traffic went up, my conversion went down because now I just had more people to convert. And was I actually ready for that foot traffic, right? And so we want more foot traffic thinking there's more opportunities. But my sales were always better on lower traffic days.
Wow.
Because you're able to focus
you just
more.
have more bandwidth to focus on the people coming in. Interesting.
Right. But then also scheduling, staffing, right? Do you have enough people available to actually support and help hold that?
Yeah.
So what's the use of having, 200 people in your store if you only have 5 people to engage with them and actually take care of them when they're in there?
Well, that would be great. 200 people, right? But
yeah.
Is your mind going to wine walks? Like, I just brought 350 people into all the stores and what did they do with it?
Yeah. I was like, what is your conversion rate?
Yeah. But I will say too, if this helps with perspective, and I was a little bit of a higher conversion store, we averaged maybe 23 to 25% conversion. So when you think about that, that's 75% of the people who walked in were not buying.
Yeah.
Wow.
Perspective.
So there's no 100%. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But it's not practical. And I think you got to give yourself a little more credit. If you're not converting everyone, like it's okay.
Right.
So is that something that you would recommend like businesses to actually like try to track? Again, I'm not a business owner, so like this is definitely new to me and would not be in my head. But I think if I was a business owner, I don't know if that would be on my to-do list to actually like see how many people came through the door, how many sales did I actually have?
It can be very eye-opening, right? To see. And, even if you're a service-based business or you're online, it's not every interaction you have, you're going to convert. So if you know that, and you know what your conversion rate is, now you know how many people you need to be talking to, right?
Yeah.
So say like your conversion rate's 20% and you talk to 10 people, that means 2 people are going to purchase. If you have a certain goal, it's like setting yourself up for how many people you actually need to interact with.
Wow.
So I would not recommend, like, it's going to be very challenging to literally mark and tally every person who comes in.
Yeah.
There's technology you can put at your door that counts everyone that walks in and does it for you.
That's cool.
Obviously, it's a software program, so you have to invest in that, but it can be really worth it.
Yeah. Or at least to get a baseline, right? To be like, okay, in a couple months, this is on average what you're seeing, so that you have data. Like you said, it's not based off of feelings of like, I feel like it was really crowded today, or I feel like it's not. That's so cool. Learn something new every day.
Yeah. Even, you could spend like 30 minutes in your store, an hour, and just track it that way and actually see what happened.
Oh,
and
that's
then
true.
start monitoring how big each of your purchases were. I know it's a little bit of work, so obviously easier on a slower day when you have a moment, but it can be a very eye-opening experience to do that.
So you have helped us before. You were on the panel of our very first workshop. And you actually helped us develop what we were talking about a little bit.
Oh,
you and Mara. It was great. So that was really helpful. We formed that based off of needs that we were hearing in the community, in our business community. We were hearing things like, I feel like my sales are down or I'm not converting. And you touched on a lot of these things. I was racking my brain this week trying to remember, how did we initially get connected, you and me? I know it was through the chamber, but I don't remember how the introduction actually happened. But how did you end up in our Snohomish circle to where I even knew that you were someone that I was like, hey, she's got skills that we would like to bring to our merchants?
Yeah, I believe it was Nancy that introduced us, and we had coffee, and you and I were like talking and sharing customer service stories.
I remember the coffee date, but I couldn't remember how you just kind of popped into the Snohomish scene. How long have you been coming into Snohomish? Like, when did you get involved with the chamber here? What drew you here?
Are you from this area?
Oh my
you
gosh,
just magically appeared.
I did. And I was just meant to be here in front of you. So I worked in the fine jewelry industry for about a decade. I left in 2020 after seeing a huge gap in understanding the importance of customer service in relation to sales and really wanting to change that and also show that sales doesn't have to be pushy and gross. It can, dare I say, fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, especially when you're taught how to do it correctly. And so I started online and did a lot of online coaching and quickly realized it just was not for me. A lot of like the misconception of what sales is. And we've all heard of a sales funnel, right? And thinking that is sales when it's, to me, actually more of a marketing model, right? And so I pivoted back towards retail. And the first thing I did is I went to all of the chambers. And so I live in Edmonds. So I'm not from Snohomish. And I just got out there to see what was happening, where I wanted to be, what made sense, where was the community. And eventually I heard about Snohomish and came and checked it out. And it was so hard not to fall in love with it and be a part of it. And it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Oh,
that's
so
awesome.
I just got involved and went to all the events and really wanted to give back and be known and make relationships. And I mean, I've truly just like had opportunities I never expected, like meeting Megan and, and now you as well. And so then I had just joined the chamber, I think, and Nancy was like, oh, you got to meet Megan. And she's trying to do this panel full of retailers. And then I just kind of went from there.
It was good timing. It was like you were intentionally brought into our circle for that, for my purposes.
The universe giveth,
for me.
right? Yeah, that's so cool how all the timing of everything just kind of worked out. So since you have joined a lot of chambers, you have seen a lot of probably other downtown areas. Does anything stick out to you about Snohomish? Like trends you're seeing, or just like what it is about Snohomish that may be the same or different from like other areas that you've worked in?
I would say that the community here, I've never seen anything like it. And not to say that nobody else is supportive. They absolutely are. But I think about this a lot. And I think that there's a lot of small business up here. And as a small business owner, you really know what it's like when you receive support. And I think that naturally then you want to give others that same support. And so it's pretty incredible to see what happens. I mean, these chamber events, right? There's 100 to 150 people.
Right.
Yeah.
You do not see that type of engagement in other communities. It's quite incredible to be a part of and powerful.
Interesting.
Yeah, Nancy was our last guest, our September guest. And we were talking to her about that, like the kind of exponential success of growth that she's seen just under her leadership in the last couple of years. And so it's interesting to hear your feedback. I don't don't go to a bunch of other chambers. I kind of stay here in my little network in Snohomish. So I have nothing to reference it to.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell even here that it feels special, but it's interesting to hear you who has a broader perspective of that is actually the case. We're not just telling ourselves that, you know?
I mean, we think we're special, right?
You guys are, of course. I mean, but think about that for a second. She's created community. She's built relationships.
Right.
Look at how much more it's grown.
Yeah.
Think of that in terms of sales.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what you're preaching.
Build community and we get to know the people. We give them a reason to come back. We give them a voice. They become brand advocates. They bring other people in, right? So it's not just chamber. It's also in a retail setting as well.
So it's like each business downtown can act as that, can be that hub, can be the community center that grows all of these branches and bring even other people in. That's a good perspective too, I think, here. Because sometimes you're just so focused on like, get people in, get sales, get people in, get sales. And it's like, truly, if the strength here, especially in this community who values community. Wow. How many times can I say community in this podcast?
It's a great word.
Right. But it's like, if this group of people in this town values community so much, then that is something to leverage. Right.
Right. I'll never forget. I know I'm talking a lot about my fine jewelry days, which was forever ago at this point. But there was one day we had to do $7,000 in a day. And we were averaging maybe $3,000 or $4,000 that type of day. So we were like, oh my gosh, this is going to be really hard. And it was the last day of the month. We had to make the month. It was really important, a bonus, right? Obviously, money is very important still in numbers. It's not always just about relationships, but it has to be genuine too. But anyways, so we're like, how are we going to do this? And so we really like as a team, we got together, we powered. We're like, what can we control? How can we make this happen? We made it happen. I think we sold $8,000 that day.
Wow.
Because we got on the phone. We're like, who can we call? Who have we not talked to recently? Who can we check in with? Like, how can we like just have good energy in here? Like even the energy in the store, how we were feeling, right? Were we smiling and excited to see people? Were we ready to help and assist? Or were we like, I'm ready to go home, right? Like the mood in the store was really important. So we made it work though. Once you put your mind to it, it's amazing what can happen.
That's so true. Sheila, are you doing what I'm doing, thinking about all the different experiences that we have in certain businesses down here?
It is flashing through as Rachel is talking. I'm seeing like examples or, not examples of certain things.
Yeah. I mean, we'll use all the good examples.
Of course.
So like you and I both shop at Maple and Moss.
I was thinking exactly about Courtney.
She's incredibly engaging.
Yes.
And for me, I'm walking around here all the time. And usually it's for work. And I'm not in my mindset of like, I'm here to shop. Like I sometimes can't help noticing that like, oh my gosh, that's really cute. But I'm not like, it's not where my objective is. So that's not where my mind is. Right. But at home, when I'm on social media, Courtney has this very intentional, very real, very genuine connection.
Authentic. Like it's so authentic.
So even if I'm most of the time, actually, I'm not watching for what does she have in her store? I'm watching for like the shop updates or the updates on Penelope or like how Courtney's doing as a person.
Right.
But that is actually what keeps me coming back and shopping from her because she's curated loyalty.
Yes.
Right. And I don't think that is even like necessarily what she's targeting, but that's what happens.
Yeah.
And so most of the time, if I'm going to buy something or I'm going to look for a certain item first, I go.
You think of her first.
Right.
Yeah.
Same with like Anna Marie. She does a really good job at. I'm wearing Anna Marie right now, actually.
Shout out to Anna Marie.
Yes. She does a good job engaging so that you want to go to her first when you're looking for something that you're guessing she would probably have in her store. She also has converted Rich.
Oh, really?
He shops there for me all the time.
That is hilarious.
Or if he has to buy a gift, he will go there.
I hope they're listening.
I hope
they have to.
Yeah. But it really is about the relationships that you're building, especially with your returning customers, building that retention.
Right. It's how they've made you feel, right? People, like when you think of sales, we think about the perfect words to say, right? But people don't remember what you say. They remember how you made them feel more than the words, right? So focus on treating people like with kindness and like the experience of being in your space. And the rest, I promise, follows. Walking in and out of stores, right? Like another thing from earlier is, are people tasking? Are they like head down? Are they even looking at you? Do they know that you're in the store?
Yeah.
Right.
I've walked in stores and walked around the entire store and no one acknowledges you too.
Yeah.
And what happens is the same as just walking right out, right?
Yeah.
So it's really about knowing who's in your space, saying hi to them, checking in and Now, Courtney obviously knows you. So I'm sure every time you see her, she's like, how are you, Megan? Like, what's new in your life? And how's your daughter? And
Right.
so it's a very different interaction when you get to know people.
Even before she knew me, though, you know, I would still go there because she would acknowledge me as a shopper, as a person, you know. Yeah. When you were talking about experience, like what sort of experience is the employee having? And that is actually really one thing that I was thinking of as well. And I'm wondering if you talk about this at all. Like you were talking about leadership. When you were in the jewelry industry, you were talking about powwowing together with your team. How are we going to do this together? That already speaks of some sort of leadership within the store. Maybe that was your leadership. Maybe that was that of your manager, whoever. But there's some places where I can't even imagine employees
being that happy to
whether they have a
extra
sales target or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like what sort of culture do you think do you coach on that? Like that developing the culture in your shop and training your employees in a way that it's not going to seem just pushy and salesy, but they're actually going to create connections with their customers?
The short answer to that is no. But I think sometimes it is about training the trainer, right? It's how you treat your team. So if you have a happy team, they're going to perform better. So for instance, if I wanted to hype up my team, I might go buy their favorite coffee so that they feel seen and appreciated and then caffeinated, right? Maybe it's I bring a diffuser in and I have like a really great, positive, uplifting scent going on in the back room. Or maybe I treat them to lunch. I think it's really important to learn your team's appreciation languages too in moments like that. So for me, I'm a very heavy words of affirmation person. So I want to hear that I'm doing a good job. I had to quickly realize a lot of team members did not feel that way. So knowing that, and then in moments like that, also doing things to make them feel appreciated. Maybe they need a high five. Maybe some of them are competitive. And so you kind of like create a game for the day.
Yeah.
Maybe some like a gift that could be coffee, right? Or you're giving them the time later on. But really checking in with them and seeing what they need to feel supported and letting them know that you're right there with them. And then I also really love team selling in those moments too. So helping each other close the sale. It just makes it more fun too.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that, to answer your question, I necessarily do like leadership training on how to train the team. I do like work with businesses to create training material that they can then use with their team to help them.
Gotcha.
But I don't necessarily, I mean, I would refer them to someone else at this point for that.
But I can see how like once, you know, the main person, the owner or, you know, the manager, supervisor or whatnot, learn from you, you know, it's like the skills are very transferable.
Yeah.
Or even leading by example. You know, I feel like you could kind of see if someone is interacting with a customer a certain way and then they're having a positive result, someone else could see it and be like, oh, maybe asking an open-ended question works instead of closed-ended.
Yeah,
is that what you said?
Yeah, you got
My brain is like shorting out right now.
Think of it like open-ended opens the conversation, closes it.
Yeah.
So anyways, but that's a whole nother conversation. I mean, I think that your team follows your lead too and how you demonstrate and the time you invest in them as well. So if you expect something, you know, make sure you're doing it right alongside them. I mean, I was on the sales floor that day too, trying to close sales and calling people. I did not just expect them to carry the weight of it.
Yeah. Here's your goal. Good luck.
I mean, that would be great, right? And I get it. We're all really busy, right? We're running businesses but I can tell you, like, there's nothing more important than the customer in front of you. Whatever operational task you have going on can be done later. If you want to make your sales, you take care of the people that are there.
You know, that's a really good point because I've definitely had occasions in, you know, certain stores. And I don't think this is specifically in downtown Snohomish, but in just everywhere else too, where you can tell that like the only person in the store is busy doing something. And then I would feel like, oh, I'm inconveniencing them by being in the store, right?
Yep.
Or that if I do want to check out and you're like standing there at the register for like minutes, right? And you're just like waiting for this person to finish what they're doing. And it takes commitment from the customer to like stand and stay and wait. But it can be off-putting to be like, oh.
Well, you don't want to feel awkward.
Exactly. Or inconveniencing.
Right.
Which might be a personal issue, but.
Even if it's not, or even if it is, you know, like you go ahead. You're going to have more insight than I am.
I was going to say, this is like a full circle moment, right? Because what did I say at the beginning here is where are you positioning yourself and what are you doing when people walk in, right? So it can have the opposite effect, right? Of where now the customer feels like they're inconveniencing you.
Yeah.
And you're just like tasking to like even like if you say, is there anything I can help you with? And they say, no, I'm just looking. And you say, great, I'll be right over here. Let me know if you need help. If the first thing you do is go back to a task, I promise you the customer feels like they're inconveniencing you and will not ask for help when they need it.
Interesting.
Right? So even if you are tasking when someone walks in as well, like without even saying the question.
Yeah.
I mean, you just.
Yeah. You directly like create that barrier with them.
Subconsciously, right? But you're like, I'm just trying to like do something. So I'm not bothering them and I don't want to be pushy and I'm going to go do this thing over here. But we're like, that's our body language, right? And what we're communicating. And I, like they say body language, what makes up like 93% of
very, very
communication.
high.
Right? The actual words we use is 7%, right? Of our interaction. So it actually is a very important part of sales.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just proved it.
Yeah, that's so true. When I was a teenager, I was 16. I was working at Tully's Coffee. That's how old I am. Anybody know who Tully's is?
Yes.
Probably not. But
yes, we do.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better. So like Tully's used to be kind of a competitor of Starbucks. And this was a positive interaction that I had. There was this woman, she would come in and she would order a cappuccino, but she would say, I want lots and lots and lots and lots of foam. Like just a tiny bit of milk, mostly foam. And she would explain it that way every time. She would come in like, I don't know, at least once a week, sometimes more. And this went on for like a month. And I finally said to her one day, I was like, and I felt kind of like, am I going to be telling her what to do? I mean, I was 16. I was like, I don't want to step on her toes. But I was like, what you're ordering is called a dry cappuccino. So if you don't want to have to explain it when you're ordering coffee anywhere, you can just say, I'd like a dry cappuccino, please. And she was so excited that I told her that. And she was literally, her whole demeanor changed and she got so excited. And she was like, thank you so much for telling me that. I have to explain this in so many words every time I order coffee anywhere. And she gave me a $20 tip.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember thinking like, that is way too much money for the information that I gave you. But she started coming back more. And then she would tell anybody she was with, this gal told me that what I order is a dry cappuccino. And I think about her all the time because that was like a really simple way to just educate her a teeny tiny bit about her order. And I think it probably helped with her experience and retention. My brain was not in that at all because I was 16. I was working there to sell coffee and like, basically one of my first jobs. But it did teach me something. And I feel like all you're doing is like taking what you know about your product and sharing it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like what you're saying, pushy, or that you feel like you're trying to figure out how to engage with them. If you know your product, just tell someone about it and see what happens, right?
You weren't even selling anything. You were just educating it and making her life easier.
The relationship, it wasn't a sales push. It was a relationship.
And as a result, she came back and probably spent more and brought people in and was your biggest advocate, right? So the future sales there is what that really came down to, not the in the moment sale.
Well, and she was so cute. I made her so happy with that one.
And you're still talking about her, right?
Like, she probably took that for the rest of her life. Like she's probably like dry cappuccino.
Talk about the dry cappuccino. Yeah.
She's probably like, oh, I wonder where that little girl is now.
I've never even heard of this before. So now I need to try this.
You haven't heard of a dry cappuccino?
I bet everyone buys a dry cappuccino after listening to this.
Everybody go and get your dry cappuccino at your favorite local coffee shop. There was other things we wanted to talk to you about as far as, and sort of circling back a little bit. So you were talking about going to different chambers. On your website, you do say that you're involved with Kirkland, Woodinville, and Snohomish chambers. I see you at Snohomish all the time. Are you deeply integrated with these other ones as well within your business? Are you finding that you rotate? Like I know you go to Engage Snohomish, like you kind of are everywhere. And tell me more about that. Like, is this part of your strategy? Do you do it just because you love it and you can't seem to stop extroverting? Or
I am a pretty extroverted person, but I will tell you there are days where I'm like, I just do not want to talk to people. But once I get going, I'm like, this is so fun. Like, what was I worried about? Right. So, but definitely I am. They are all a little bit different of communities. And luckily everyone does things on different dates and different times. So what I like to do at the start of the month is I will look at all the chambers and see what all the events are, make sure they're on my calendar, and then I schedule around them. But most chambers have patterns on when they do them. So it's quite easy to have it kind of preset. And then obviously if something comes up or I'm not able to, then I just won't go. But it is important to me to be consistent so that people know I'm consistent in my business as well and that I'm reliable right? You know, we all know the person that shows up once a year or is inconsistent. You're like, what happened to them? Are they even in business anymore?
Right.
I want people to know that, you know, I'm definitely here. I care about the community as well. So
build the relationships.
Yep. I dedicate the time to each of them pretty equally.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm curious on the Main Street side of things. Do you end up getting involved with any other Main Street organizations? I mean, I know there's not a ton of us. I feel like there should be more with the amount of small towns that we have, even just within our region here in Snohomish County. Do you see us involved in these things? Do you meet other Main Street programs at other chamber meetings? Like, are we kind of it?
There's one actually, I believe, starting in Kirkland, but they have a downtown association. And so most cities do have a chamber, which is going to oversee the whole city. And then they have an association just for the downtown area. So Woodinville has Woodinville Wine Country, which would be their association. And then Kirkland has a downtown association as well. So they are both not membership based. So it's not really necessarily something that I'm involved with, or it's not available to me in that sense. I mean, I suppose if I sponsored something or volunteered, that would be my in. I've done workshops with Woodinville Wine Country, but that's really directed if you're a winery, and obviously I'm not a winery. So the short answer is no. But obviously when you're in chamber, you meet a lot of other business owners. So networking groups. The big one up here is BLOS. There's also, you know, CEO Society and Network in Action. And so you kind of learn about those things as well. So there are a lot of networking opportunities outside of chamber as well.
I was just curious, mainly thinking on the Main Street side of things, I would want a connection with someone like you because so many of your businesses that you're supporting are retail based. Like they're small businesses. They have these opportunities to, you know, grow, engage more. And what a resource, right?
Right. Just the connection and knowing that that's available in your back pocket, that, you know, you might not need it today, but in 3 months, if something goes into a slump, you know, you're like, oh, yeah, Rachel, I know Rachel. Like I can reach out to her. It makes it really nice. I think that's one of the benefits of, you know, the historic downtown business community is like we have the merchant page too. So like you can go in and you can say, hey, who knows about this or who has a recommendation for this and that. And I think that's an advantage in itself. Like, I don't know how closely knit like other communities or other
we do kind of have that like bias assumption that this is how it is everywhere.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it is, but that's also networking, right? Is, you know, truly if you are not to say like working it, but you're building a Rolodex of people who know you are and feel confident enough to recommend you to others. So, I mean, perhaps an opportunity for me, right, is being more involved with associations and main streets. But a lot of those businesses are also involved in other ways too. So we think that there's always a way to meet people and build a relationship and connections.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you feel sought out because I feel like it's such a direct affiliation of something that would be a great resource that like I was really excited to meet you. And I've reached out to you a few times to be like, hey, what do you think about this?
I love that.
I want to get back to the introvert extrovert thing.
Yeah. A lot of sales is mindset, right? And recognizing that you're kind of holding yourself back sometimes. So one of the statements I hear a lot is I'm an introvert. I can't sell. And I do not like that statement at all. Being an introvert means that you don't derive your energy from people. You derive it from being on your own, right? And being an extrovert means that you feel more energized being around people, right? Typically is kind of the understanding of it. So if you're selling and you're talking to someone, right? Like, well, okay, let me back up. Like introverts still have friends. You still have family. There are still people you connect with and talk to on a daily. And same with being an extrovert. So when you actually think about selling, it's more about connecting with the one person that's in front of you and having that interaction there. You're not talking to a large group of people necessarily. I mean, you might like a small group, but really it's about the one-on-one interaction anyways. So it's the same as you would be like a friend or a family member. It's really not different. I think what it more is I feel a little shy talking to people. It's not so much about my ability of where I get my energy from. It's just a different, like it's a changing the perspective on it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because even like I said earlier, as an extrovert, like I get like drained sometimes being around people, but it doesn't affect my ability to sell and still talk to people and get excited about things and want to show them and talk about it, right? Like the passion is still there.
Do you think shyness is something that is exclusive from introverts or extroverts? Because when you were saying that, I was thinking there's times that you might have conversations that maybe you don't have a problem engaging with people, but it could be the subject of whatever it is where like you were talking about earlier, you might feel pushy or I don't want to bother you. I'm just over here. Like, so not so much that they they don't get their energy from it, but like an extrovert could be shy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And an introvert could maybe be more comfortable having that one-on-one conversation because it is more intimate. And it's like, I can easily talk to one person. I don't have to talk to 25 people at the same time.
Right. So I would say a huge skill to sales is active listening, because the more that we learn about someone, the more we can connect them, serve them, help them, right? And not to say that an extrovert can't, because like I feel like I'm a good listener, but people that are introvert tend to be very good listeners as well, which make them very strong salespeople, in my opinion.
Oh, so use that to your advantage, right? The more you learn about your customers, the more topics you can bring up and relationship building.
It's very general, right? Like this isn't to say that one can't do the other. I think that we really can do whatever we put our minds to. But at the end of the day, it's just about connecting with the person in front of you, right? And everyone does that in one way or another.
Leveraging the strengths that you have. If you are shy, but then go to the one-on-one. If you are the kind of person that, you know, are able to talk to a large group and like to just strike up conversations with anyone. But I think, Rachel, you said the passion of it, because I can see where a lot of the introverts can also rely on when they have that passion about something, they can talk about it forever. Like they will talk your ear off about that one niche thing that they really love. And I've seen that in a lot of markets, I feel like, where I've interacted with someone who at first might seem, you know, a little bit more shy or subdued, but and then you ask them like a question about their product and then suddenly it's like, here's an encyclopedia on this one topic. So maybe just acknowledging like, what is your personality? What are your strengths? And how can I use that into play?
I really see sales as communication skills and learning how to better talk to people. Because think about it, we sell all day long, right? Whether it's to pets, children, our spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, right? We are constantly selling all day long. Just because you're not selling a product doesn't, you know, like think about you're trying to convince them to go do something or go somewhere. It's just a communication skill. It's learning how to better talk to people. And anybody with any personality type can learn that.
Yeah. I love this perception of like what sales is, because I think I definitely grew up with that used car salesman type vibe. And I used to work at Best Buy in high school as a salesperson. And that was always the thing. They were like, you never want to come across as this, you know, stereotypical, the guy that's just going to push you to buy something that you don't even need because they're not discovering, you know, who you are as a person and what your needs are. So I love everything that you're talking about that is really bringing new light and new perspective into what sales really is. So hopefully all of our audience members are getting a lot out of this conversation, because I sure am learning so much from it.
So one question that we always ask our guests is, if you could describe your perfect day in Snohomish, what would that look like? And take your time.
I really don't know what to say. I mean, it's so pretty around here. I really always enjoy driving into Snohomish. It's just like, this is beautiful. Like this is Washington, or at least Western Washington, right?
Yeah.
I just love walking around. I don't know. I think it sounds so cheesy, but it really is so meaningful to know that I can be part of the difference in this community, whether that's just being a member of the chamber and supporting it in that regard, but knowing that, you know, we're all connected one way or another. And so I don't know if that's really like a perfect day, but I guess like success to me is seeing others do well. And so if I can spend the day in Snohomish and support businesses in that way, to me, that like actually feels very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Sounds very cheesy.
That.
I know, but
that's so cute though.
And then, you know, as you network and connect, you get to know people. So it's really nice to be able to walk into a store and you know the owner and you can catch up with them as well.
Yeah. So you're coming for the relationships.
Yeah. Full circle again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a very fitting answer for what you've been talking about.
Well, that sounds like a fantastic use for a day in Snohomish, building those relationships. So many wonderful people in this community, as we've continuously mentioned. And speaking of those wonderful people, if any of them want to reach you, Rachel, where can they go? How can they get a hold of you?
So I'm pretty active on socials. You can find me Rachel Morgan Coaching, RachelMorgan. And my website, I'm also, like you said, Megan, always at the Snohomish Chamber. So you can come say hi, and I send out a monthly newsletter with sales tips in there as well, and often host monthly workshops, which I believe we'll be collaborating on soon for the holiday season.
Yeah.
So
Nancy mentioned that. I'm excited about that.
It's awesome. Well, I hope that the people of Snohomish, the business owners, anyone who needs to communicate with anyone else. Got a lot of things out of this podcast, but thank you so much, Rachel, for coming in and sharing your wealth of knowledge. I feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg, all of the things that you are mentioning. So if people want to engage with you and be coached by you, I can only imagine what other gems are under there. So
yes, thank you for your time and
you
all of your
guys.
information. I feel like you gave us a lot of great little nuggets.
Right?
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, if anyone's wanting to know more, like I said, I host workshops and I love to do secret shopping. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Fun.
And creating training materials to help you better implement ideas and sell, right?
Excellent.
Make it fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Snohomish Storytellers, brought to you by the Historic Downtown Snohomish Association, produced by Red Trucks.